A long time ago, I faced a legend. Not a grandmaster, not a Magnus, but a bot named Sensei. It wasn't cute like mittens. It didn't smile. It just crushed me, move after move, like a calm, calculated assassin. And I lost badly, I admit. But today, I'm back. This is the rematch. Me versus Sensei, round 2. I've studied, I've trained, I've made peace with my blunders. And this time, we are not just surviving, we are going for revenge. So let's begin. If you have not watched the first part, make sure to watch it somewhere around here. So let's get started. Okay, it's me versus Sensei. I'm going to start the rematch. Sensei is having not a definite rating, but okay. I'm having 2-3-1-0, so let's get started. I'll play 1d4. d4 is the main move, which I play at the highest level. Okay, knight f6. I'll play c4, the queen's gambit. Let's see. e6, as we go. Knight goes to f3. Okay, simple chess. We have queen's gambit decline. I'll develop my knight. Okay. And okay, so here we go. Sensei decided to capture the pawn on c4. So now, I can play e4, which is a good move. And I believe this is kind of my prep. e4, bishop b4, and bishop cross c4. Yeah, here we go, e4. Okay, bishop b4. And now bishop c4 is a very interesting move, sacrificing a pawn, which I will go for. Bishop cross c4 and knight cross e4, and I'll just castle up. Simple chess. Okay, we have knight cross c3. Makes sense. I can go for capturing the knight, which makes sense, and which is actually the only move. Expecting bishop cross e3, and here we go, bishop to e7. Sensei did not went for capturing the pawn, because then I would be having just too much activity on the board. Makes sense. Bishop e7, and now I'm already a pawn down. I need to play some good chess in order to beat Sensei. Okay, I have castled. Let's think logically. Okay, I've castled up. I'm having good center. My bishop is well developed. My knight is well developed. I can develop my bishop. Bishop goes to f4, which makes sense. It just bishop f4 makes sense. I'll play my bishop to f4. Expecting castle up. Here we go. So, if I talk about Sensei's idea, maybe b6, bishop b7, developing all the pieces. Knight d7, c5 could be a good way to continue the position. And now I want to use my queen and the rooks. One move that makes sense to me, at least, is to play the move a4. Another idea could be to launch some sort of kingside attack, maybe. Get the bishop to c2, queen to d3, knight to e5. Maybe launching h4, h5, h6. Sounds like a good idea. Let me think. Rook e1 makes sense. Just getting the rook into the game. I'll do it. Rook e1. Knight to d7. And now, okay, developing the knight makes sense. You're keeping maximum flexibility in your hands. He's not sure where the bishop belongs, so he's first developing the knight. Makes sense. Maybe knight goes to b6 or maybe to f6. Okay. And now a4 makes sense, expanding on the queen side, as I want to keep the maximum flexibility. So I'm not sure. Maybe black wants to play knight b6, attacking my bishop, so I can play the move bishop d3. Makes sense. Attacking the pawn. Yeah, makes sense. It does make sense. Bishop d3 goes back. And now we have b6. Okay, b6 makes sense. Black wants to play bishop b7, as I predicted. Bishop e4 makes sense, attacking the rook. The rook goes to b8 with the idea of bishop b7. Okay, let's think. Now knight 5 makes sense. Knight 5 does make sense. If bishop goes to b7, maybe I can play queen h5. g6, knight g6, edge g6, bishop g6, and I can already draw the position, maybe. Knight e5 looks already very interesting. If he takes, I'll just capture it with the pawn. It looks good to me, so I'll go for knight e5. Here we go, bishop b7. And now queen h5 is my guess. I want to play queen h5, get all my pieces. If queen h5, knight f6, I can simply go back with queen h3. Having good knight on e5, the rook is coming to d1, and that makes sense. Let's play queen h5. g6. Okay. I'm already having a draw in my sleeve. I can play knight g6. And after f g6, bishop g6, h g6, queen g6, king h8, queen h6, king g8, king queen g6. And that's a threefold reputation, and that's a draw. I should be happy to get a draw with middens, but I already believe this is good position for white. That's my guess. Though I can definitely pick knight g6. F g6, bishop g6. He has to capture. Oh, wait a minute. Knight g6, f g6, bishop g6. Maybe he's having knight f6. Attacking the queen and also defending the mate. So maybe that's not working. Yeah, maybe that's not working. So I first need to move my queen. Okay, I can play queen h6. Even queen h3 makes sense, actually. Queen h6 or queen h3? Okay, if queen h6, maybe he can go for playing the move rook e8 with the idea of bishop f8 and bishop g7. That makes sense. But after rook e8, maybe I can sack the knight. Takes and queen takes on h7, and that makes sense. Queen h6 makes sense after my complete analysis. Even queen h3 looks good. But I believe after queen h6, I can get my another rook into the game, so that makes sense. I'll just play. Queen h6, maybe he can go for capturing the knight. As I can't really take because my bishop is hanging. So I have to recapture it with the bishop, maybe. And that looks good. That does look good. Bishop f6. And I can get the rook. Okay, I'll just play queen h6. Let's see, queen h6. Bishop f... Okay, bishop f6 is the move which I personally missed. No problem. Absolutely no problem. I can still take on d7. Which looks like a fine move to me. Queen d7. And bishop e5. Now, that's a bad idea. He can actually take and just play f6, and he's having a good position. Okay, he wants to play bishop g7, attack my queen, h6, and he's having a good position. Okay, so far so good. I'm having all my pieces into the game. Nothing to worry about. I can play rook to d1, get all my pieces, and that looks like a good idea. I'll just develop all my pieces. I'll pull my queen back to h3. Does make sense. And now we have knight e5. So here's a point where I need to make a big decision. I can go for playing the move bishop cross e5 or d cross e5. Both the moves look good. Starting with d cross e5, or let's say bishop cross e5. What's the idea? There is no idea. If I go for playing the move d cross e5, my pawns are weak, but it doesn't really matter as I'm already a pawn down. I'm threatening bishop cross g6, attacking the queen. So maybe after d cross e5, maybe he will play queen e7, just moving the queen, with the idea of getting all the pieces into the game with rook to d8. That makes sense. So the question is, how shall I continue? Yeah, that's a good question. But come on. It does look good. This move does look good. D cross e5. If bishop cross e5, he can just take. He can just take, and I don't see anything happening. The question is, how? Okay, that's a big question, to be true. I can also take with the bishop, to be true. If he takes, I can take with the rook. And that does look fine. Come on. Pawn takes looks a bit tempting to me. Okay, I'll just go for capturing with a pawn. Queen e7 as expected. And now queen e3 is a move that comes in my mind. If rook d8, I'll just play bishop g5. I'm having a good position. I'm definitely having a good position. Yeah. Makes sense. Does make sense. Yeah. Queen e3 makes sense. I want to play move queen g5, queen g3, but he's having h6. Stopping bishop g5. Maybe h4 then, with the idea of h5. If the pawn pushes, I can go back. But that doesn't really suit me, so I'll just play queen c5, queen e3 with the idea of bishop g5. And queen a3 is a move which I definitely expected but did not speak up my mind. So queen a3 attacks the pawn on a2 and also attacks the pawn on c3. That makes sense for him. Now, I want to get my rook to the 7th rank, which also makes sense. So I've kind of centralized all my pieces, but nothing is happening. Yeah. Bishop e4 bishop e4. Actually, bishop g5 also makes sense. Just taking control of all the key d8 square, and I'll just go for it, sacrificing another pawn. I'm not really playing according to the material already. I can't really beat Sensei by playing materially. I need to play positionally, just like Magnus. Okay, bishop e7 comes with rook e8, and nothing is happening once again. Bishop f6, maybe it's a tempting move. I believe h4 h5 looks good. h4 h5. Okay, let's see. Black wants to play queen d5 with the idea of threatening a mate. I can play f3. Yeah. At the very least, even bishop f1 works, so I'll just play h4 with the idea of h5. Let's go in. And now I'm having bishop f1. I'm just having bishop f1, defending g2, and also attacking the queen. f3, maybe he will go for playing the move queen c5, which I personally do not like. So I'll just go bishop f1. That makes sense, right? That does make sense, bishop f1. And now queen c5. Here we go. Okay. So the Sensei Bot is actually scared. That's my judgment. Queen c5 kind of displays that you are ready to, like, you are kind of ready to allow yourself to get double pawns. Definitely you are 2 pawns up, but still. And now I can actually take the queen and just put my rook on the 7th rank. That does look good. I'm attacking the pawn and the bishop. For now, I will be just attacking the pawn. The rook goes to c8, defending the pawn. And then how to continue the game? It's another big question. I do not know. Okay, let's think. So once again, black can't really play rook d8. Yeah. I can still go up with my idea of h5, which looks good. So queen f4 makes sense. Sacrificing another pawn, maybe. Doesn't make sense, queen f4. f6 I can take. And many pawns are weak. Like f6 I can play takes. Like, yeah, you can't really play f6, so I'll just play queen f4. Maybe sacrificing another pawn, who knows. And now we have h5 by Sensei. We have h5 by Sensei. Pushing up the pawns, so maybe Sensei was really scared of h5 by myself. So we have, now maybe just rook d7 with the idea of bishop e7 is also a great idea. It looks like I'm getting all my pieces into the game with rook to d7. And that does make sense. Yeah, rook d7. I'm attacking the pawn. Bishop c6, he loses the pawn. Yeah, bishop e7 is a threat. Yeah, it does make sense to play the move rook d7. If bishop c8, I can at least come back. I can at least go back. I can sack the pawn. Yeah, I'm expecting rook d7, queen cross c3, and maybe rook c1 captures another pawn. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Or maybe after rook d7, you know what? I'll just play rook d7. And here we go. We have queen c3 on the board. And now the one thing that I actually missed was after rook c1, he can actually go for capturing the pawn on e5 with the queen. If I try to trade off the queen, that would be a losing position for me. So after rook c1, queen e5, can I go for capturing the pawn on 7th rank? Allowing him to take the queen. Bishop takes. I'm attacking the bishop. So maybe bishop goes to c8, maybe. And then I can play. Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, can I play? Okay, the rook is also hanging actually at the same time. Still. Okay, rook e3 is a move. Rook e3 is a move, which looks good. Which does look good with the idea of bishop e7. I'm moving the bishop, attacking the pawn on f7, and that looks a great idea. So I believe after rook e3, black wants to play f6. Though I can actually sack the rook over there. And that does look like a good idea. I still believe after rook e3, the position is good for me. I still believe rook e3 looks good. Rook e3 looks good. I'll be honest. Rook e3 attacks the queen, threatening bishop e7. Yeah. I want to play rook c1, but there is queen e5. And maybe things are not working out. I can go for capturing the pawn on c7 with the rook. But after queen f4, bishop c8 attacks the rook, I need to move the rook, and he can start rolling up on the queen side. I'll just play rook e3, attack the queen, defend everything. And here we have queen c1. Okay. Nothing is happening. He can't really take on g2 because I'm having king g2. And though he's having then bishop queen c6 and he wins the rook. So yeah, bishop g2 is actually a threat. Yeah. Okay. So now the question is how to play. Bishop g2 is actually a big threat. And after king g2, he's having queen c6, giving a check and winning the rook. Yeah. Okay. So in this position, I'm going to play the move queen to g3, which makes sense. And I'm attacking the queen and I'm also defending. I'll just play queen to g3. Okay. Bishop a6. Attacks the bishop. I'm losing the game now. Okay, personally, bishop a6 was a move which I personally missed, and the game is actually over. I'm losing the game. Can I generate any sort of a counterplay in the position? Anyhow, bishop e7. Sacrificing the bishop, maybe. The engine doesn't really care. I can go for capturing the pawn with the rook. Though the position is still losing. Absolutely losing. Rook cross c7, rook c8. And that's losing for me. And I believe I'll just resign in the position because I'm having absolutely nothing. So yeah. I lost against Sensei. I'll go for playing a new game. Okay. It's time to play a new game against Sensei Bot. But this time I'll be a bit quick. I'll just play c4. Let's see. Knight c3. Knight f6, the English opening. I'll play g3. The same line Pragnanda went for. Bishop to g2. Okay. e3. Here we go. I'll just take with the b pawn. Actually, e4 was actually also a good move. Knight e2. With the idea of threatening d4. I can play d4, which is a good idea. I'll play d4. Yeah. He'll take, I'll take. He pushed. I'll castle up. Knight to a5, just attacking the pawn, which is a good move. I'll play queen a4, defending the pawn. Expecting c6, yeah, b6. I'm just losing the pawn. That's it. I'm just losing the pawn. Just like that. That's insane. c5. Takes. He can't take. The knight is hanging. I'm also attacking the bishop. I'm also attacking the pawn. So queen b4 also makes sense. Queen c6. I'll just play queen a3. I can also play queen c2 if it takes. I'll just play. Yeah, queen c2 makes sense. Queen c2. Bishop goes to b5, and now just a4 also makes sense. Attacking the bishop. If it takes, I'll just take it back with the queen. And bishop, of course, bishop d3 was the move which I personally missed. And I can't play queen d2 because of knight b3, thanks to knight b3. I'll play queen to b2. Rook d1. Rook b8. Already having a bad position. Queen a2. Knight b3, and that's losing. I'm just losing in 17 moves already. Okay, that's the resign time. End of the day, Sensei Bot is clearly way stronger than any club level, pro level player. At least above, I don't know. Even Hikaru lost once against the Sensei Bot, which is insane. And yeah, this was the second time when Sensei Bot actually beat us pretty badly this time. Maybe the first game was a bit close, maybe. But the second game was just brutal. Losing in 17 moves, and that's insane. Yeah, that's insane. So yeah, I hope you guys have learned something new. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And make sure to at least give it a try against Sensei Bot, and you will have fun. Thanks for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye bye.